This is a little. I watched one of Gerbert Void's videos. I'll probably just put it in the description because it just got me thinking. It showed up on my feed. Love that guy's videos, by the way. He has inspired me to make this channel, so definitely go check him out if you're watching this. But I got four little notes on the notepad here. And unlike Gerbert on his Gerbert's Void channel, I'm not going to start with a little rap, but you know, we'll talk about things. So, first thing, what even is love? You know, I gotta get in like my able to talk forever mood. It's kind of weird. So, what even is love? Um, like I don't think I've ever felt it personally. Like my first ever relationship, um, I think about her kind of constantly. Not constantly, like at least once a week minimum. But I've thought about her probably multiple times this week. I know I've thought about it. I've always thought about her at least once or twice today, so definitely more than once this week. And you kind of just start like I just see her face in people and stuff, and I actually think about all of my exes periodically. Some of them less than others, but it's just bound to happen. Um, so like, what even is love? Because clearly, I know for a fact that I I'm not even sure I love these women, despite me being in a relationship with all of them. I'm not sure I loved any of them because while we did work out some things, it got to a point, right? Some of the breaking points, like my very first relationship, the one that I initially talked about, I had to break it off because our parents hated me. So I think that's kind of reasonable. But that happened because of mistakes that I made in the relationship. So you know that's kind of on me. But like I, my most recent relationship, I was with her for 6 months. Don't think I loved her though. You kind of just get to a point where you stop appreciating them and forget what you liked about them initially after you leave the honeymoon phase. So it's just kind of like, have I ever felt love? And I think it kind of stems from pornography addiction. Now I've suffered from it probably most of my conscious life. Like, and it gets kind of questionable because my conscious life is pretty questionable. But, you know, let's say like since I was 10, 9, I think I was first exposed to it when I was like 8. And then maybe earlier. And then, you know, search up boobs or whatever on Google, and then eventually I stopped. And then it was like 10, 11, or 12. It was probably when I was like 10 or 11. You know, I somehow went on like a porn website, and then it just like went from there. And there's been ups and downs and my struggles with it, but it's remained a consistent part of my life, unfortunately. So I think that definitely has something to do with it. Like, it's weird. I always talk to my therapist about it, and I feel like a lot of my issues come from that. The fact that I've had a pornography addiction for so long, but a lot of the times there's always like some other reason he thinks of. So I don't know. But I'm like let's say for example, I just remembered this. And I was saying that I couldn't just stay with one woman even though I wanted to. He was saying it was just because of my age. Like cuz at the time I was 17. Yeah, I was 17, so I'm just about to turn 18, so you know, who knows. But like I just really question that sometimes, right? Cuz like no one knows the extent of it no matter how much I tell them. They're not going to know the extent of it. So it's like how do you know that, right? Like this addiction has been with me for 6 plus years on and off. And I think, I mean, it has to be affected by it. like the way I treat women and how I see relationships. But this could be just the experience for when you're young and getting in relationships, because in Gerbert's video, he's talking about how people would have to be forced into marriages and stuff like that, and you just stick with them. And sometimes, like marriages originally to bring up the social status of families, you know, and marriages were still forced for a while. I mean, they still are today, but not in America. So I don't know, but um, I don't know. I just think like maybe it's an issue with maybe it's just an issue because I'm young, but I feel like it's been affected by that. So I have yet to know what love is. Had to look back at my notes to get back to the plot, don't want to lose that. But I really don't know what love is. I haven't felt it. I felt the honeymoon phase, and I always thought that was love, but then it always fades after 2 to 3 months, sometimes earlier. And that just makes me really question it now. Looking back at it, it's like clearly that wasn't love because there's an issue there. So I don't know. But next, death of dopamine receptors. You know, I think that also relates to what even is love. Like, it all just like comes down to I think that it's just my age, but it's exemplified by my pornography issues. And I don't know. I think, well, I don't know. We all grew up on screens too, right? Like I was born in 2007, so who the heck knows? Who the heck knows? Um, like it could just be the screens frying our dopamine receptors and making us not be able to know what love is even at this age. It's like I feel like you hear a lot more about high school sweethearts and stuff back in a while ago, a few decades ago. But I don't know. It's just like what can you do? Like I'm still reliant on talking to people virtually, so can't just go like full monk mode or whatever. Take a quick break. Anyways, as I was saying, like the death of dopamine receptors. Let's get back into it. Come on, come on. Death of dopamine receptors. It's just like what is a man supposed to do? It's how I've met people my whole life. Like it's either I throat's really dry. I'm kind of nervous my first time. Um, like it's just a really bad habit for me personally, where every time I try to make a change, it like I go in as hard as I can, and it's like either I do this or I die trying, and then I just fall back into my same habits, and then nothing ever changes. So like obviously that's from a weak mindset, right? But again, I just feel like it's created by this society that we've grown up in. So it's like at what point, like I've been reading this David Goggins book, it's like and for him too, it was like um he visited his dad before he started going all crazy, and he was hoping that it would make him feel better or something. He was hoping his dad would say sorry because his dad abused him when he was a kid, but his dad never was sorry, and he thought he would make him feel better, but it didn't, and it made him realize that he was just making excuses his whole life because of the way that he was treated, and thought that that wasn't his fault. And obviously it isn't his fault, but the way that he plays with those cards is up to him. So like once he realized that he had full control over himself now, and he can't change the things that happened to him, but he can change who he is now. He started making those changes, and look at David Goggins now. So I for me, it's just like, at what point am I gonna start to realize that too? Like, I've tried to change things so many times. Like, I was on a successful diet for a few days, and today was my, like, a binge day. Like, I hit almost 6,000 calories. I had a half dozen of Dunkin' Donuts this morning, and I had one and a half Domino's pizzas for dinner. And like, at what point does it just get like to where it's make or break? Like, I should have nothing to lose, right? But I, like, it doesn't feel like that for me yet. And is it, again, is it just because I've grown up this way and I'm so used to falling back on things? Is it just because of my weak mindset? I don't know. I don't know what's leading me to not be able to change anything. Like, part of me wants to blame it on the fact that I grew up digital electronically, so it's like the most potent thing I could fight against. But at the same time, it's that David Goggins thing that comes back to me. And it's like, at what point is it just my turn to make a change? And this segues me into my next point. Where do we socialize? I gotta take another break. My throat is. But yeah, segueing into my next point. Where do we socialize? I guess I'm just not gonna go with dry throat. Where do we socialize in this day and age? Everyone's on their phone, and I think I was reading a comment in that Gerbert video that's going to be in my description, and someone said it's just impossible to socialize nowadays because the only places you can socialize are made for the wealthy in downtown areas. And while that's true, that also always existed, has existed for well over probably a century. 1925, there was a downtown there as well, wouldn't you know it? But there's also country areas. And what did the country people do? You think they just, you think, what do you think they did, right? Obviously they had nothing to do, but they still went on dates, right? You know, you go to a nice food place, you take a walk through the park, you spend time together, read books together. I don't know, you talk to each other. That's how it worked. But now you can't. Like, now it's like always recommend, oh, you go to a coffee place, or you go to a place with games like bowling or something. And while that's true, I think we've all lost the plot, in the sense, like, how do we don't know anymore how to do things without going somewhere. We have to go somewhere to enjoy a date. Like, you can't just take your date out for a drive, or like just walk around, because that's boring. And then you're not seen as entertaining in the woman's eyes, and the woman thinks you're boring, and then you get blocked. And maybe that's just in my mind, not being creative enough to figure out what would be ideal. But dude, how am I supposed to know what to do? Because I didn't grow up in the farm country, you know? So, how do we get back to that? How do we. Okay, well, this isn't even about dates journals. Where do we socialize, right? So, how are we supposed to socialize, right? Like, if we go out with friends, what are we supposed to do? We either A, sit on our phones, B, drive around, C, go somewhere specific, D, eat a meal. There is not as much just doing nothing as there used to be. And if you are doing nothing, then you're going to get punished by the law, probably. They're going to think you're doing something weird, or it's just going to get boring eventually for your friend group. Like, me and my friends, before I moved, we would literally, most of the time, we would end up just spending walking around the mall, or the various malls near us. So, what do you do if there's not a mall near you? I guess you walk around town, and then what's that going to do for you, right? You're just walking around town. Like, what's that going to do for you? Where do you socialize? I don't get it. I think I'm just out of my depth here, personally, because we're running out of things. People are just running out of things, like, like there's just nowhere to go. Simple as that. Like like activities are expensive nowadays. And sure, they were always expensive, but what were you supposed to do back then? What did people do back then? Probably things that you're not allowed to do now, right? Like in the country, shoot things, I guess play games, but you either gotta pay to play games or not everyone wants to play the game or stuff like that. So I don't know. And then no college, no church, no friends. It's my last topic. If you don't go to college, you can't meet friends at college. You don't go to church, you can't meet friends at church. You go to work, sure you can make work friends, but for me personally, the people at my work are all 2 to 3 years older than me. And that's the youngest person. The youngest person is 20. Next person is 22. And beyond that, it gets old. So like, what am I supposed to do? And I live in an area that's heavily dominated by Mormons. So my entire family's Mormon. So I was Mormon most of my life. Not anymore. I do believe in some sort of God, but I'm not at a point in my life where I feel comfortable exploring religions yet. I just want to figure out who I am before I figure out what I believe in. And so I don't want to go to those churches and put on a falsehood like, oh yeah, like I feel like me being there just signifies that I believe or something, right? And then if I tell people, I feel like they'll be betrayed. Maybe I'm wrong though, but I don't know. Like I know a few people where I would go, but there's just no one to go with, and it's just like, then how do you make friends at a place you don't know anyone? I guess I gotta talk to them, but like that's another issue for me. It's like I can't socialize because it's really hard for me. So I've been, whoa, lost some time there. It's gone for probably 30 minutes. Anyways, no college, no church, no friends. You know, go to church. I was talking specifically about Mormon churches. Like I don't want to just lie to them, right? Like it seems lying to them, like they just assume. Okay, it's not lying to them, but maybe I just got to be more confident in myself, right? Like maybe just go in there and being like, you know what? It's okay that I'm here and that I don't believe because they'll just be happy to have me there, right? I'm just there for the socialness. But like I haven't been to church in a couple months, right? And I'm not in college yet. And I've only been working for a few weeks. I have not a singular friend at all. I have two friends that I've known since childhood here, and that's it. No friends. For a few months, no friends. I haven't hung out with a single person. Isn't that insane? That's literally what my life is meant for. It's meant to have friends, and I don't have any. Like, no wonder I'm getting depressed. But how am I supposed to become more socially outgoing if I can't have friends and learn how to be a friendly person by actually just socializing with people and hanging out with people, being around people? It's just like a downward slope. Like, no wonder people get stuck like this and never go back and just stay inside all the time. Like, staying inside on your computer's the cheap replacement for the real thing. And, like, I went on VR chat the other night, messing around as a Beavis from Beavis and Butthead. And you just can't feel people's real emotions through the screen. You can't see them. You can't feel their presence. You don't feel their soul. It's just inhumane. Like, I want real socialization. But we are getting pushed out of that kind of world, and it's sad to see. So, quick recap. I don't know what love is. My dopamine receptors are most likely dead, but it's possible it could be my age. But probably dead dopamine receptors. There's nowhere to socialize in this day and age, and without college or church, you have no friends. And while that was always true, you used to have communities and family and stuff like that, and people would be neighbors and come up and talk to you, but not anymore. Not anymore. So, I don't know where this world is going, but, thanks for watching. That was just a quick little rant.